Welcome, everyone, to the Creative Mountain Mama podcast. This week, I am joined by Gabija from Kai Tallow. She talks a lot about animal fat skincare, incorporating ancestral wisdom as the basis of her company, and healing skin issues from within. This is going to be a great conversation. We have a lot to share. Gabija, is there anything new?
Man, January is almost over, and I don't know, that means a lot of things for people, like looking forward to spring. But for me, I try to do a challenge not every single, most months, or something like a focus. And for January, it's always been giving up sugar. So it's just like a reset. It's something because we really indulged in December. So I really look forward to it. But it's been so tough this month because, well, part of it is because I started doing sourdough, and it's been really fun to like get into that. But I haven't been able to try like any of the dessert recipes, which are really like, they just look so delicious for someone that has not been able to enjoy bread for a very long time. But January is almost over. My husband actually just told me that he wants to be carnivore for February to see how he feels and if it helps his workouts. And I'm like, okay, honey, I totally bless you with that. I am not doing that because at this point I'm ready to do like sourdough desserts all of February, just do a full on all sugar, like the cinnamon rolls are ready to go. So that's where I'm at.
So you're going to do your own February challenge.
Yeah.
You'll be supportive. You'll be there.
Yeah.
You're going to cheer every once in a while.
I make all the food, so I'm not really sure what he's going to do.
That's awesome. I'm excited to hear how that goes. So you started your own company. Can you share a little bit about your background?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, man, this has been a prayer that I've been just praying for probably since like high school, honestly. But I started out after college starting at a corporate company, and it's a huge company. It's international, but they do a lot in America, and they sell private label food and really everything, but mostly food. So I was an executive there. I had a very high role looking over 6 to 7 locations. It was something that I really liked to do, but it was not something that aligned with my values. It was always this clash, and it was so hard because I would get asked like, we'd had organic stuff, and I would ask like, oh, like, does it matter if, this is organic or not, whether by customers or by my employees? And I would have to pretty much like stick to the talking points and say that there's really no difference, but if you prefer, la, 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 la. And it really got me into this, like, what real organic is, like from the farmers I buy versus like anywhere, like buying at store. Like the commercial organic just is so watered down. It's really disgusting. And that kind of led me into questioning everything, whether it's my food or things I put on my skin. And when I got pregnant, that was like, I did not want to put anything on my belly or on my baby that wasn't safe for me, that had ingredients that I couldn't pronounce, had laundry list of ingredients. So, the funny thing is I started my business when I was 5 months postpartum with twins, which, any postpartum is difficult, but I have right now 3 kids under 3 years old. And at that time I had a 2-year-old and 2 newborn twins. And I don't know, I can't even tell you how I started this business because literally it just like fell into my lap and everything just flowed. And I just felt God just being with me and walking, like from the name of it to the website, everything. And I don't even know how it started because like, when was I doing that? I wasn't sleeping at night. I wasn't sleeping during the day. So it all just happened. And, I created a tallow-based skincare company, and it's been so fun and such a creative outlet, exactly what I prayed for. And it aligns perfectly with my values. So
you mentioned commercially organic. What does that mean?
Okay. So there are certain things that you have to pass in order for you to have that label. And I used to think that, man, if it's certified organic, like that is the highest level, right? but it's really not, because things like dairy, that's cows that are in confinement, or chickens that have never been outside, can be considered organic. So it's the cost is driving every decision in being organic. And like everything with labels, there's loopholes to everything. And big corporations, they find those loopholes. It is their job. It was my job to find a way to make everything cost effective. And even like local, within 400 miles is considered local. In Europe, that's like 3 countries away. It's like, that's not really local. And so, yeah, organic is very much watered down. The organic eggs that I get from my farmers that are never being fed soy and like they're outside, like that is true organic. And then you put an organic egg you can't even compare. They've never been outside. They've never seen the sun. And that to me is really sad.
So there's a difference between labeled organic and then something just being done well.
Yeah. And the eggs I get actually are not even certified because,
Sure.
Yeah, you don't need to be.
And it's expensive too.
Yes.
So how did you harness that background to start your company?
So I've always been into health. In college, I majored in the sciences. I did biology. I did all of the sciences, but I ended up majoring in biology. So I've been very passionate always about health, our ancestors, what they ate, what they thrived on, what they put on their skin. And that has really, like, I brought that into like the corporate world, and everybody knew that I was like, I had the glass jar, like the mason jar full of like weird stuff for my lunch. Everyone knew that I was like, they're like, why are you working here? You just seem like, to clash a little bit. I was like, no, I love it here. So yeah, I mean, I've always had that background. And of course, God is so funny in these ways where like you can look back and see all of the ways that you have been prepped into where you are now. And I really feel like everything that I learned, with biology, like knowing like what we are supposed to be feeling like and what are we supposed to be using on our skin that's not toxic and it's totally doable.
Did biology and your science background directly relate to making that transition? Or did you use more of the corporate side to make that transition?
I think it was both, because to formulate the skincare, especially for example, my raw honey cleanser, like honey really doesn't mix with anything, which is why in all of skincare, if you see honey on the label, it's not raw. There's no way, because otherwise it doesn't mix. The sugar content is too high. So like just having that chemistry background in order to be like, well, how can we keep the raw honey? I don't want to just put honey on the label for me to be like, look, it's honey, it's great for you. It doesn't mean anything if it's heated, it's dead, just like, like pasteurized milk. So that, I feel like I pulled from that background, and being able to know like how to keep everything clean and like what to keep separate and how to mix things. And then also learning like the business side of it and being really passionate about that. It just all really helped.
Did you have a marketing background within that company?
No, but the way the role worked is you did everything. It was very, very hands-on. And I like cried like the first year because it's so difficult. But you do everything. Whatever is needed, you're there. Even though you're an executive and you have like 200 people, you're managing those 200 people, you're doing everything. So I didn't directly do managing, but it was a lot of I didn't directly do marketing, but it was a lot of that in my role.
So, corporate executive, 7 years in a very high paced, probably high stress role, became a mama of 3, including twins. Can you tell me a little bit about what motherhood changed and what you learned?
Man, motherhood has been the biggest gift for me. And I really think it can be for all women if we allow it to change us, than it being like, well, how do I fit the kids in the current life that I have? And I really allowed my kids to change that. How do we ebb and flow with this new morning? We are now up at 5 a.m. How do we learn to love this? And for me, I realized that in order for you to really raise children that are capable and fearless and God-fearing, you have to learn how to like grow a human in every possible way. I find myself, researching all of these things from like, are we supposed to be mouth breathing or nose breathing? Like, what are we supposed to be eating in order to be healthy? Like, what kind of shoes are they supposed to be wearing? Like, clearly the heeled shoes are not good for what kind of like all of these questions. And I really allowed that to change me in a positive way, because it's like how you grow a human is how you have a happy life. So motherhood has been the biggest blessing. I don't think that I lost myself in motherhood. It's that I found who I truly am. And I really think that every woman can do that, is stepping into that role, being confident as mothers, and like, yes, doing the research, but also trusting in who you are and making those decisions of like, this is my home and we're gonna do things differently now as we come into this new chapter.
How did you lean on your faith, especially when postpartum with twins?
Oh, postpartum with twins was such a difficult time for me. And like, man, like I just like anytime I even think about that, I just get so emotional, because that was such a trying time for me. And there's so many things that I wanted to do and I physically could not. And I just had to lean on the Lord, pray in those moments where like you're in a dark nursery, like not even sure what to do. There is just, I really just don't know how you do it any other way. And just leaning into, my family and allowing them to like pray on me and love on me, and like really allowing them to help because a lot of times we're like, no, I can do this myself. I'm gonna push through. And no, like I needed the help. And yeah, just praying a lot. I mean, and then as they grew older, I really have, even now, I really lean on Deuteronomy 6 of how we structure our day, is we really try to talk about God in the morning through the night, and allow that to make the rhythm of our day, rather than it just like being kind of chaos.
Absolutely. Any advice you give to a mama that's going through that stage right this second?
I would say that whatever mom that you envision that you would like ideally want to be, just make small steps every single day in order to be that mom. Because I certainly had a vision. I'm like, we're going to be outside. We're going to be like barefoot and like, I don't even butchering an animal that we like, we hunted, like all of these things. Like, I'm like, I want to be dirty and I want to be in it with my kids. And, that did not happen right away. I was like, I want to stay home. But as long as you make those steps, I am that mom now. I am the mom that's outside barefoot with her kids in the forest. And yeah, sometimes my twins are crying because they're like, what is this, mom? But it can be so much fun if we allow it. So honestly, my biggest advice is allow yourself to dream, because the mom that I am is going to be totally different from the mom that you are or somebody else. And like what you really like imagine yourself as, like, this is a special time in our lives. It's going to come and go. So let us really indulge in it and be the mom that you just dream of being. Indulge in that, because I am having so much fun being like, let's do it. Like, we're going to soon be out of the toddler stage. Things are going to be different.
The mom is going through that stage and she's facing going back to a big role. Can you talk a little bit about what that moment was like for you, starting your business, making that decision? I think you said 6 weeks postpartum, and how could you encourage someone else to make that leap if that's something they want?
Yeah, I mean, even honestly, I'm going to be a little bold here. Even if that's something that you're like, oh, I'm not sure if I want, your infant, you are, as a mom, you are the world to your infant. And if I could convince even one mom to basically quit her job and be with her kid even a year extra than they would, that is worth it to me because you are like their universe. And when you walk out the door, it's like we are designed to be with our babies for years. I mean, to me, at least like 2 or 3 years. So I was fortunate enough to have a lot of help from both of my families. So I was able to still continue to work while I had my first. But let me just tell you that as soon as I had my first and I was at work talking about finances and how we can improve this, and like it was all meaningless because you see the big picture. And I'm like, yes, I do still like my job, but like my child is at home with her grandmother and like her grandmother's great, but I'm not there. And we found a way where like, this is important enough to me and to my child to make it happen. And I did it. And I remember when I quit, my director was like, I just like your personality. I don't see you like, where are you going to another job? Like, what are you doing? And I was like, no, I want to focus on being a mom. I want to probably homeschool. I'm not sure yet. And I said all of these things and I felt so excited, not even knowing that a business was waiting for me, but one that I could actually do at home and like have my kids in the videos and just be so passionate about it because it's something that I'm already using. And actually, funny story is, as soon as I talked to him and I quit my job, I told him, no, like I'm not doing anything else. This is it. A week later, I started Kai Tallow. Like,
Amazing.
yeah.
It wasn't happening in that conversation, but it brewed very
Oh, it
quickly.
brewed. It boiled.
So can you kind of go back to the basics for me? What
Mhm.
is tallow?
Yes. So many people actually don't know, but it's rendered beef fat. So tallow, there's a lot of different qualities, but you take the fat, pure fat off of a cow, and you basically heat it up to get out some of like the impurities, I guess you would say. It's all still like edible, but you kind of clean it out. And then there are different ways to make it in order for it to be like more cooking or for skin. For skin, always, you obviously want it to have less of an odor, but that is basically what tallow is. It's the fat of a cow that you then have in an oily consistency and then put on your skin. So tallow is like, I remember when I started researching like what can I use for my skin when I was pregnant and like on my baby, then like what surely our ancestors used something. And the answer is tallow. This has been used for thousands of years. Like ancient Europe, the Romans used it, Greeks used it. They used pure tallow. And of course, because you need moisture for your skin. And it's something so special because it's not only an old idea, like this is not something I just like thought of, but it's such a new idea. And the fat lipid profile of tallow is so incredible. And it's very similar to the sebum of our skin. And sebum literally means tallow in Latin. It's like we have known this. It's not a new thing. And it's so wonderful. It's so hydrating. And my favorite thing is that it's very sustainable. Like even if I couldn't get any oils from across the world, like anybody can really have tallow. It's like the most local skincare that you can get versus like coconut oil. It's like, where is that coconut? It's surely not being grown in my backyard, you know?
What would you say to someone that would say, we have technological advances, we have more that we know now, and we just don't need it anymore?
You know, I feel like that's very cocky to say because it's easier to trust big corporations on, sourcing. My main thing is like if you look at your food or at your skincare, do you know what that stuff is? Because working in the corporate environment, they don't even know where that stuff comes from. Because it's like there is no way that you can trace back where that oil is. Even if it's organic, it's coming from across the world and it's not sustainable at all. And I mean, I try not to convince anybody. I'm like, if you want to keep going with your Nivea or whatever it is on your skin and you're happy with it, like That's fine. But there are so many people like me that were searching for something that is actually natural, actually organic. Show me something like where you go to a store to get a skincare product. What can have 2 or 3 ingredients? Nothing. It is filled with ingredients that are actually harmful to you, and it cause you to be red. It like long-term cause issues. And even if it helps you in the short term with your skin, what are you putting into your blood system in order for you to have this skincare? All of that stuff, it absorbs and it goes into your entire body, whether it's preservatives, microplastics, 9 out of 10, 90% of skincare beauty products contain microplastics. No wonder it's found in breast milk. So I try not to convince anybody, but once they take a look at the ingredients and how I'm like, I know the farmer that I got the beef suet from. Like, I've talked to him. It is so traceable and it's real ingredients. If that doesn't interest you, then we probably are not going to get, any of the things in common with anything else. Like, this is real stuff over here.
And a good PSA.
Yeah.
So jumping back to the business, how did you choose the name Kai? How'd that name come about?
So I actually had a couple of names in mind, and one of them I was thinking about, like, I really created this for my kids. So my children's name are Kasaya, Oriah, and Isaiah, Kai. So I was like, maybe I should do something with that, but I'm not really sure. It's kind of like, where is this coming from? And my mom is my best friend. Like, we're extremely close. And I came over to her house. I told her, I'm like, I'm going to start a business. And what do you think about this name? And I didn't tell her Kai. I told her another name. And she actually was helping me with my twins that day. She went upstairs to put one of them down, and she was praying about a name. And she came downstairs. She's like, what about this? And she said Kai. And I was like, well, I guess it's going to be Kai because you just told me that. And that was on my list. And it was just something where like God's hand was in it. And it was so just beautiful. So I always want to remember why I'm doing this, because the products are never just good enough to sell because maybe, oh, this is cheap now, or like, I'm just going to make the quality work. But the products are good because my children use it and I use it as well.
Where can someone go to learn more? Websites, etc.?
Yeah, so most of the stuff I do is on Instagram. So at Kai Tallow, and that's Kai Tallow. So that's where I do a lot of educational stuff, because I know it's a strange thing, but it's not a new thing. It's only strange because we have kind of been forgotten about this information. And kaitallow.com, my website, where I sell mostly tallow, but I also sell a cleanser that's made out of raw honey that I mentioned before. And yeah, I do a lot of information in order for people to learn more about it.
And if you do go to her Instagram page, I will say it's very clickable. There are a lot of keywords from the cover page. So if you have a specific question, she's probably answered it on there. You can click, watch the video. And I found it very easy to navigate to answer specific questions. Now, let's say I'm a 10-step facial beauty routiner. How do I start using tallow?
Yeah, so if the 10-step skincare is working for you and you're happy with it, like, by all means, keep going with it. I am all about simplicity. Like, I don't have that much time. I have 3 little kids, and what I recommend is you only need a gentle cleanser at night. So really, like, I'm going to tell you my skincare right now, it's going to take me less than a minute. I wake up, I put tallow on, and maybe I put some mascara on. And then at the end of the night, I wash my face with the raw honey cleanser. It's a non-foaming, actually gentle cleanser that does not strip my skin of the natural beneficial oils that it makes. And then I finish off with the tallow. That's it. It hydrates my skin. It replaces any serums. It replaces any like eye stuff or anything specific, because we're so used to being like, every inch of your skin needs a different product, but that is really marketing, because If it's a high quality item, which I am all about, you don't need 100 items. You don't need the 10 steps. If it's high quality, it's going to work for everything. It's going to work for your baby's diaper rash. It's going to work for a burn, and it's going to be healing.
Mm. Okay. That opened up a whole nother can of worms. You have your starter trio. It sounds like that's the routine to reference. Are there
Yeah.
other uses
For the tallow?
for the trio specifically?
Oh yeah. So my trio is probably like people start off with that. So it has the cleanser, and the cleanser I use every day to wash my face, but also you can wear it as a mask. Again, when something is high quality, it should have multiple uses. And then the tallow is an all skin moisturizer. So my children know if they get a bump or bruise, they're going to be using it on their skin. And then the third product for the trio is the lip balm. So people really liked it on their lips, and it's extremely hydrating. So yeah, the starter is definitely the way to go.
Bestseller?
Yeah. Well, I mean, tallow is technically the bestseller, but for bundles, absolutely. They always go
Okay.
to the starter trio.
So a couple options depending on where you want to start. How do you source your ingredients?
Thank you for asking that, because that is my passion. Every single ingredient, I know exactly where it comes from. So the main thing is obviously the tallow. I do not buy tallow from a company that like already renders it. I render everything myself. And that's because there are definitely wrong ways to render it, because so many companies are like jumping on board with this now. And like big companies that just clean it, over clean it, and make it something that it's not originally. Mess up with the fat profile where it's not actually beneficial for your skin. And to me, I source from a local farmer, and I only get beef suet, not just beef fat from any part of the cow, but beef suet, which is specifically from around the kidneys. It's the most nutrient dense. It has the most acids that are beneficial for your skin. It's amazing.
Are there any other scientific or, I guess, evidence-based benefits by using beef suet particularly?
Yeah, so it has the most stearic acid in the actual tallow, which is so amazing for your skin. I mean, I really try not to talk up the benefits that much, because people think I'm like lying, because I'm like, people use it for, cracked heels, to wrinkle reduction, to literal burns that will heal so much quicker. And when I start saying this, people are like, okay, like, what is this thing? It's just beef fat? Like, what is going on? But that's really the truth, is like, and I keep kind of echoing this, but like when you have a high quality ingredient, it will be healing for all of your skin. And I get messages from people, whether it's on Instagram or just reaching out, that they're like, this is really healing my skin. Like I have less breakouts. The redness from my face has gone away, because your body wants to naturally be healthy. It doesn't want to be in a state of breaking out and cracking and being dry. It wants to be healthy. And when you give it the right inputs to do that, it will naturally heal. And tallow is just this amazing thing that we've known for such a long time that it works. It has so many beneficial vitamins and minerals it's high in like vitamin A, E, and K, just naturally. And I think one of the things that when you buy a skincare product, when you look at the label, it has so many ingredients. So when you think about putting a pump of that ingredient in your hand, how much of each ingredient are you getting? I mean, is it even like 1%? If it's like 20, 30, it's just, you're not getting a lot. For me, if I have 2 or 3 ingredients in a tallow balm, you're basically getting the pure thing. And the only reason it's not pure tallow is because it's not as spreadable. So I use jojoba oil to make it more spreadable, and it is amazing. You're getting that pure thing on your face that you can't get anywhere else with like a store-bought product.
Nice. What does quality mean to you?
That is like, I probably overuse this term because I'm so passionate about this. I'm like, if it's not high quality, get out of here. I don't care about it. And for many years, I've had to fight this in like the corporate world. But quality to me means the highest possible quality. I will not settle for anything less. Anything less to me is an insult. When it comes to the way the animals are raised, what part of the fat I get from the cow, I don't want any fat off the cow. I want the best, the most nutrient dense, and I want to do it myself because I want to control the quality. I do not trust any other company to do it. It is my passion. And like I said before, there's a reason why it's Kai Tallow. It is for my children. They use it every single day. It's going to be the highest quality. It goes on my face. It goes on my mother's face. I am extremely passionate about quality because that's what leads to healing skin issues and being actually effective rather it just being like a marketing thing or like, I think this works. I've been using it forever. No, this does work because it's a real, actually organic and natural product.
Thank you so much, Gabija. This has been super informative. I'm going to go on your website right now. It's KAITALLOW.com. If you have any questions, please visit her website or her Instagram page at Kai Tallow. Same spelling. I really appreciate your time today. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks so much. I had a blast.